Hello. 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 Good. I can see your chat. Love Kumar Anurag Arya. We will start exactly at 6 p.m. I'm audible. And before the start of this session, there is some setting which I have mentioned. So please adjust this setting so that you can see the presentation in a best quality. So just go to settings, quality, advanced, and set quality as 1080. So this is very important setting. Everyone please do that. We are going to start exactly at 6 p.m. Thank you. We are going to start exactly Welcome to all of you in this session. We are going to start within 2 minutes. Am I audible? I'm checking your chat, so please confirm. Good. So we are conducting this special session for people who were not able to join yesterday's session because uh, when we send the bulk message, it will not able to reach to most of the people. So this was the issue. So then today we took some counter actions, and we have shared information with each one of you over WhatsApp, and I hope that everyone got the information. So I will be using a mix of English as well as Hindi so that everyone can understand all the concepts without any language barrier. We have two major objectives in this session. We will understand the basics of machine learning in this session. We will discuss its working principle in terms of supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So we are going to discuss three important learnings: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning in this session. And since this is our first session, so that will be the foundation for the whole course. So it's very important that you should try to understand each and everything properly. And if at any point you feel any doubt, you can share your question on chat box. I am watching your chat box, so you can use that. Before the start, I want to make it clear that you can you can go to the settings, as I have mentioned in this, that if you see that your presentation is little blur, then it's important to go to settings. Under settings, you will be getting quality, then use advanced, and then set your quality as 1080, which is the highest value. So if you use this, then you can clearly see the presentation. So this is important setting. और as I have already told you कि हर सेशन में एक क्विज होगा. तो जो भी हम इस सेशन में टॉपिक्स डिस्कस करेंगे, we will have a quiz at the end of that session based on the questions or the topics which we are going to discuss in this session. तो क्विज होगा और वही क्विज आपकी एक तरह की अटेंडेंस रहेगा. एंड अगर किसी ने कल के सेशन को मिस किया है या क्विज नहीं दे पाया, तो दे कैन ऑल्सो रीअपियर इन दैट पर्टिकुलर क्विज. क्विज में आपका जो रोल नंबर है दैट विल बी, जो मोबाइल नंबर है दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज ए यूनिक आईडी. तो आप उसको यूज़ करके इसको यूज़ करेंगे. Lot of people are asking about the coupon code for shared with all of you. It's available on my Facebook page also, so you can go visit that page and extract the code. I think that it is only valid for maybe 1 or 2 days. So please, if you are interested in that course, please use that coupon code to register DBMS course over Udemy. But let's first focus on machine learning, because this session is on machine learning. Or I request everyone to please keep your notebook and pen with you. I request everyone to please keep your notebook and pen with you, because it's very important to note some of the important points. So I request everyone to keep making notes of the important points. So this is my request. So please have your notebook and pen with you. So let's start. So as you know that machine learning is very important, and in all the applications now we are using machine learning. We are using it in search engines like Google, Bing, all are using machine learning for ranking the web pages. Machine learning algorithms to generate custom feed. So the feed which you see normally use machine learning, and Facebook use machine learning to decide about which post should be displayed to a particular user based on your interest. Similarly, Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, all these email service provider use machine learning to check which mail is spam or which is not. Amazon, YouTube, all other platforms use machine learning for recommendations. So you can think that there is no application in modern world which is not touched by machine learning. I have listed 16 different applications where machine learning is used, but you can extend this list and you can find out the role of machine learning in each and every area of our life. Here I have listed some applications like image recognition. Machine learning is used to recognize the objects in the images. It can be used to filter any email as spam or not spam, as I have already told you. Now you all are familiar with the Google Assistant or Home Assistant. They make use of machine learning to recognize your speech. Apps like Ola, Uber make use of dynamic pricing to decide the price for a particular ride on the basis of day and time. So they make internal use of machine learning to decide the cost of a particular ride, and it is all dynamic pricing which is set by machine learning algorithms. Online streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime recommends the videos or movies to us by using machine learning. Nowadays you have seen that there are some automated chatbots which most of the website used. It require a use of machine learning behind the scene. Traffic prediction by Google Map, machine translation which can translate text from one language to another language. All these are important applications which require use of machine learning. Handwritten text recognition. For example, I have write this number, so machine learning can recognize this number, and this is called as handwritten text recognition. I have already discussed that Facebook is used machine learning to decide about the feed. So all social media platforms use machine learning in one way or another way. Online fraud detection, because nowadays we use a lot of credit card and all those online payment gateways. So all these online payment gateways make use of machine learning to detect any invalid transactions or to detect frauds. Nowadays, you have seen that in healthcare, we are using machine learning to predict the disease or to diagnose the disease. So this is another area where machine learning is used. Machine learning is used in research engine, refining the results of research engines. It is used in biometrics, bioinformatics. Of course, you are familiar with this application, self-driving car, very important area, autonomous drones. So all these applications require use of machine learning. So this is the reason that why there is a huge demand for machine learning experts, and this is the motivation of carrying this course. So we require we understand that there is a huge demand for machine learning experts. So in order to train more people on machine learning, we thought to start this course, and our objective is to train you as a machine learning experts within a period of 3 months, where you will be able to understand each and every term of machine learning. You have you have better idea about what is supervised, unsupervised, clustering, classification, and even you will be capable to understand that even you will be capable to understand Python, and you will be able to implement it on your machine. So this is the complete objective of this course, and this course is a completely hands-on based course where you will be trained on Python. It don't require any prerequisite. We will be discussing everything from scratch, so don't worry if you don't know any programming language. We will be taking care of that, and we try to explain each and everything in a very simple way so that everyone can got this point. Some of you are getting issue of quality of video, so again I am requesting everyone to set this setting. You can go to settings. In the settings, use quality, then advanced, and then set this as 1080 pixels. So I request anyone to please share this setting on the chat box so that you can help others to get the setting right. So settings, quality, advanced, 1080. So this way your presentation will be appear normal and it will not be blurred. Okay, so let's start with the definition of machine learning. From this definition, you can see that this machine learning is very old term, and it is as old as our grandparents are. So first of all, Arthur Samuel given this definition of machine learning is 1959. So it is quite old, and before say 70 years we have machine learning, and during that time this machine learning is defined as a study that gives computer the ability to learn without explicitly programmed. So it gives the ability to the computers to learn without being programmed. So computer can learn automatically on its own without writing rules. So by default we need to write rules, or we need to supply algorithms, or we need to explicitly program the machine in order to perform some task. But here in machine learning, the computer able to learn on its own with the help of data. So computer learn from data without explicitly being programmed. So this is the first definition of machine learning, and it is considered as informal and old definition of machine learning, and it is given in 1959. So you can from this can understand that this is quite old concept, 70 years old, but still during that time it was not we were not able to implement it, because in order to implement machine learning there are two major requirements. One is data, and the second is very high computing power. So during 1960 we don't have either data or very high computing power. So that's why most of those algorithms remain on paper, and we were not able to implement those algorithms because we don't have sufficient amount of data to train the machine, and we also did not have sufficient amount of computer power to train the machine on huge data set. So due to these limitations, the machine learning was not able to took the momentum during 1960s. But later on, when we have new century near about 2000 year 2000, we have sufficient amount of data due to smartphone. Now we have smartphone, we all are using smartphone, we are using internet, and we are generating lot of data. So data is available, and also computing power become very cheap, and it is readily available. So machines are available now, laptops are available which have a high computing power, servers have high computing power. So both of these things become realities in year 2000. So that's why machine learning took a new you can say birth in year 2000, when we have internet boom. And during that time, Tom Michel redefined the concept of machine learning. So during this time, Tom Michel redefined the machine learning, and he gave a new definition of machine learning by using three important terms, that is E, T, and P. So we are now going to understand each of these terms, because you can see that this definition make use of E, T, and P. So it's very important that you should understand what is E, T, and P. So I'm going to dig deep into this, so please follow with me. So this simply state that a computer program is said to learn from experience E. So here a computer program is said to learn from experience E. So computer program is learning from data, that is experience, with respect to some task T. So computer program is learning from data, learning from experience for a particular task T, and when it perform that task, it achieve a particular performance measure, let's suppose P. So here E refers to experience, T for the task, and P is the performance. In simple word, E can be considered as data, T is the task of predictions. So because we want to make predictions commonly, so this is the task of prediction, and P is the performance, which you can consider it as the accuracy with which we make that particular predictions. So if our performance, which is measured by P, improves with experience, so if you add more experience, the performance will improve. So if this happens, then this is a case of machine learning. So machine learning is a problem, is an area where the performance improves with experience. If you have more experience, there will be better performance. If you have less experience, there will be less performance. So performance is directly related with experience, or it is directly related with data. So you can consider experience just as adding a sugar to a tea. If you add more sugar, there will be more sweetness. If you add less sugar, there will be less sweetness. So you can consider tea as a machine learning problem. So but the role of sugar is to make it sweet. Sweetness is considered as the predictions or the accuracy. So the more sugar we add, the better will be the accuracy, or better will be the sweetness of that particular tea. So sugar can be equated with data. If you add more data, the performance will improve. If you add less data, the performance will be less. So performance is directly related with experience, and this definition simply states about these three important terms, that a computer program in machine learning, a program is said to learn from experience E. A program is learned from experience E with respect to a particular task T, and when it perform that particular task, it achieve a performance measure P. And if its performance improve with the experience, then this case is considered as machine learning. So let's understand this concept by considering some examples. So let's suppose here I have an email program, and this email program actually track a person which mark a email as spam or not. So this email program actually watches which email you are marking as spam or not, and based on that it learn how to filter a spam email. So again, I am repeating, here I am considering an email program which tracks the email that a person mark as spam or not. Here a person is marking email as spam or not. So this email program is checking that or tracking that whether the person is marking a email as spam or not, and based on that it learn how to filter a particular spam email. Now your task is, based on this guideline, your task will be to identify task, experience and performance in this case. So can you identify what is task in this case, what is experience in this case, and what is performance in this case? So I'm waiting for your chat box responses. So I want everyone to think over this question and try to identify what is task in this case, in this example. So what is task, what is the experience, and what is performance? So try to give me three important points. E, T and P इसमें क्या है? So everyone just give me all the 3 points E, T and P. So also give a thought about experience. So task is to filter the email as spam or not. This will be task. Good. What is experience? Experience and also you need to give a thought about the performance. So let us find out the solution for this. So classification of email as spam or not is considered as a task because we have to classify it. Then tracking user marking email as spam. So our program is looking at which email person marked as spam or which is not. So this is experience or data. So we will extract the behavior of the user because it is important to learn that how user is marking email as spam or not. So this is my experience in this case, and how correctly my model is able to classify it as a spam or not, that will be considered as performance. So performance is simply refers to accuracy. Experience is referred to the data which we check that previous data of the person which marking email as spam or not, and task is classification. So this is the concept in this case. Let's move next. I have another question for you, and I am again will wait for your responses. Here that we have to predict the placement of the student. So you know that you are all are looking for placement after your course. So let's suppose I want to make a machine learning software which can predict your placement. So if I have to predict your placement, what will be experience, task and performance in this case? So give a thought for a case of prediction of placement of student. So in this case, what will be the task, what will be the experience, and what will be the performance? So in case of student placement, what will be the task? Of course, task is predicting the placement. Performance, how accurately my model will able to predict your placement, that will be performance. What will be the experience? So it is important to think experience in this case. So experience will be previous placement record of student. So in order to make predictions software for student placement, so it is very important to collect the historical data from the placement office about the placement of your seniors. So you can collect 2-year data, or you may able to get 5-year data, or you may able to get 10-year data. So that data is called as experience. So in order to predict your placement, I have to look into the placement of your seniors, last 2 years, last 5 year, or last 10 year. The more data I have, it means that more experience I have, and my accuracy will also improve that way. Task will be prediction of placement, and performance is simple accuracy with which my model is able to predict. So these are the examples, and whenever you have to tackle a particular machine learning problem, your first step will be to identify what is E, T and P. So you should able to understand clearly that what type of data you will be requiring in order to implement this concept. So let's move next. This is again very important point. You can write down this on your notebook, that machine learning has 3 types of learning. One is supervised learning, second is unsupervised learning, and third is reinforcement learning. So there are 3 types of learning in machine learning. First is supervised, second is unsupervised, and third one is reinforcement learning. Or any machine learning algorithm will fall in any of these 3 techniques. So whatever machine learning algorithm is, it may either belong to supervised or unsupervised or reinforcement learning. So it's very important to understand these concepts properly. What is supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning? So I'm going to discuss that with an example. Let us consider this picture. Here I'm predicting the case of where we have to predict the price of a house. And you can see that in order to predict the price of a house, I will require some kind of experience. So here the task is predicting the price of a house. Now in order to predict the price, this is, let's suppose this will become task. Now in order to perform this task, I will need some experience, or I will need some data. So in order to collect the data, I will go to a market and collect the data of all previous property deals in that area. So let's suppose I visit a registry office, and I am able to fetch the data of properties like this, that if this is the proper plot size, this is the number of bedroom it has, covered area, granite flooring, whether a particular flat has granite flooring or not, upgraded kitchen, yes or no, distance from the city, age of the flat, and on that basis here I am also having actual price in lakhs about a flat which sold in, let's suppose, previous year. So this is the flat which is sold in 70 lakh, which has these property. This is a flat which is sold in 140 lakh and it has these properties. So I have collected data, and this data will become my experience. So this is the experience. The more data I will have, more accurate I will able to predict. Now in this case, the columns are divided into two types. So now it's very important to note, the columns are divided into two types. First is input attribute and second is output attribute. The column for which we want to make predictions. So here we want to make predictions about price in lakh. So the column for which you want to make prediction is considered as output or class attribute. So you want to make predictions about the price in lakh for a particular plot, so, or flat. So this will be considered as output attribute, while all other attribute will be considered as input attribute. And these will become your instances, and here you have 6 instances. Since the price of the column which you want to predict is available in the historical data, so this is the historical data, and you know the value of the price in lakh of previous transaction in that area. So when you know the value of the column which you want to predict, then it is considered as a labeled data, because you know the value of output attribute from previous transaction. So here I have 6 previous transaction, and I have a knowledge about the prices in lakhs about these previous transaction. So I have 6 transaction and I know that what is the price it have fetched in the market. मेरे पास 6 transaction है और मुझे पहले से पता है कि हर फ्लैट कितने का बिका है. So when you know the value of previous transaction, then it is considered as labeled data, because the value of output attribute is known to you. So when the value of output attribute is known to you, then this concept is considered as supervised learning. So this is very important term, supervised learning. It means that data is labeled. You know the value of output attribute from historical transaction. So here I have a supervised learning where I have the value of output attribute available with me, and my task will be to predict the price of the house. So let's suppose I have some plot, I know all the value of input attribute, and I can predict the price in lakh. So when you make a prediction, so here I am making a predictions about a number. So when you make a predictions for a continuous value or a number, when you are making a predictions about a number or continuous value, then this case is called as a regression. So here we have another term, regression, mean that you are predicting a number. So whenever you predict a number, whenever you predict a continuous value, that number may be 60, 90, 62, 65, any continuous number. So whenever you have to predict a number that is a continuous number, you called this task of prediction as regression. And here my output attribute is price in lakh, and for simplicity I can consider only one input attribute, let's suppose plot size. So let's suppose here I have only one input attribute plot size and one output attribute as price in lakh. So even in this situation I can also predict the price by considering only one input attribute. But of course the accuracy will not be that high, but still you will able to make some kind of predictions. Now I am going to explain you the logic how we can make the predictions. So in order to make prediction in this situation, what we can do, you can create a graph like this where the plot size is on x-axis and price in lakh is on y-axis. So I have two columns. So on plot size, make it x-axis, price in lakh, make it y-axis. So you can see here I have 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500. These are the values which I have set it in x-axis, and these are their corresponding prices in lakhs. So these are their corresponding prices in lakhs on y-axis. So now I can make a now I can fit a straight line over this. So I have six values of transaction. These are six cross. So I can fit a straight line over this, which best fit these data points, and then based on that particular straight line I can make predictions for a particular plot. For example, you say that what will be the price for 850 square feet. So I will use this 850, and then I will say that the price will be approximate 18 lakh. If you say what will be the price for this 17 lakh, so 17,000 flat. So I will use this, draw like this, and I will say that approximately it will be 37 lakh. If you say that the plot size is 120, 1250, so in this way I can say that this is the predicted price. So this is my predicted line, and through this predicted line you can predict the price of any plot. And here I have only one input attribute, that is plot size, and one output attribute, that is price in lakh, and through this I can make the predictions. If I have more data, so you can see that earlier I have only six I have only six transactions here, but here in this I have more number of cross. Here I have 12 data of 12 transactions. Here I have data of 6 transactions. So if I increased my data, then you can see that instead of fitting straight line, I can, let's suppose, fit a curve in this particular situation. So if I fit a curve, then this is giving me a better result. It has less error as compared to straight line, and now I can make better predictions. So my point is simple: if you add more data, if you add more experience, the accuracy or the performance of the model will improve side by side. And here I am making a prediction about a continuous value. So you can write down this point on your notebook. Here you are making a predictions of a continuous value. So whenever you make a prediction of a continuous value, this case is called as regression. And in order to make this prediction, you should know the value of output attribute from the historical data. From historical data, you should know the value of output attribute. So this is called as supervised learning. And in simple word, I will call it as a labeled data, because I have a knowledge of output attribute. So when output attribute is known to you, then this particular case is called as then this particular case will be called as supervised learning. So I have one question. The model will give price 0 square feet also. Will that be considered an error? Okay. So okay, we will start from this only. Here you can see that here I have not added any straight line in this area. So I have started the straight line only from this particular point. So the line is not like this. So I am not making predictions for 0 in this particular case. But yes, our model is able to tune in this way, that straight line will start cross this way, that if plot size is 0, then the cost will also be 0. So it will start from this and it goes like this. So if the value of x is 0, then the value of y is also 0. So it will not have any value in this particular point. So here I have a price prediction, and all these are input attribute and output attribute, and you can further understand that as you add more number of input attributes into your model, the accuracy will improve. But of course this will make your model more complex also. So there is a trade-off between complexity and accuracy. If you add more number of attribute, the model will become more complex, but it also give you better accuracy. So this case is called as supervised learning. So when the data is labeled, then this case is called as supervised learning. And I have discussed a case of regression because the system is predicting a continuous value, because here we are predicting the price of the house. So when you are predicting a continuous value, this case is considered as regression. So now let us consider one. I will take that point. Regression simply mean that whenever you have to predict a continuous value, whenever you predict a number, you called it as a regression. So this is the simple point. So whenever you make a predictions about a number, for example, I have to predict your marks. Maybe it is 37, 39, 22. So that is a number. So whenever I have to predict your mass, it will be considered as a case of regression. If I have to predict the temperature, it may be 32, 39, 12, 19. So that is again a number. So that will be considered as a regression. So whenever you need to predict a value from a continuous stream, then that case is considered as regression. Let us consider one more example to understand this concept a little bit further. Here I have another case of machine learning where I have to predict the tumor for breast cancer, whether the tumor is cancerous or not. And here you can see that I have diagnosis here. 0 mean that it is non-cancerous and 1 means this is cancerous. And can you identify input and output attribute in this case? What is output attribute in this case? I'm waiting for your response. What is output attribute in this case? So यहाँ पे जो output attribute है वो है diagnose, and in this case diagnose is output attribute and all these will become input attribute like tumor size, age, mean parameter, mean area of tumor, smoothness of tumor. All these will become input attribute, and output attribute will be diagnosis, and it has two values 0 and 1. So here again you know the value of output attribute. So this is considered as a labeled data. So this is a case of again supervised learning. But here you can see that you are predicting a value in the form of 0 or 1. So when you make prediction in the form of 0 or 1, yes or no, then this case is called as classification. So there is another learning. In case of classification, we are predicting either 0 or 1. So here I am predicting yes or no. So when you predict 1 out of 2, this case is called as binary classification. So there are two possibilities and you are predicting 1 out of these two, and then this case is called as classification, and in this case the labeled data is given to you. So that's why it is again a supervised learning. But in this case I am not predicting a number. I am predicting 0 or 1, 1 out of 2, yes or no. So then it is considered as a binary classification. And how we can make this prediction? In order to understand this, let us consider again a simple model where I have only one input attribute, tumor size. Another attribute is diagnosis. I can draw it on x and y axis. So let's suppose this is x axis, this is y axis. So this is my x axis, this is on y axis. So here based on tumor size you can make the predictions that whether that particular tumor size fall in the area of 0 or fall in the area of 1. So important point to conclude, whenever you have to make a predictions about a discrete value 0 or 1, then this case is called as classification. When you have to make a predictions of continuous value mean that 0 और 1 के बीच में कुछ भी हो सकता है, यहाँ पे या 0 होगा या 1 होगा. So if you have either 0 or 1 तो classification है. 0 और 1 के बीच में अगर कुछ भी हो सकता है, for example 0.1 भी हो सकता है, 0.2 भी हो सकता है, 0.11 भी हो सकता है, तो कोई भी नंबर इसके बीच में हो सकता है अगर, तो then that particular case is called as regression. तो रिग्रेशन में आपके पास एक कंटिन्यूस वैल्यू है और आपको एक नंबर प्रेडिक्ट करना होगा जो कि उस पूरी रेंज में कहीं भी हो सकता है. और मान लो आपके मार्क्स हैं, तो वो मार्क्स 0 से लेके 100 तक कुछ भी हो सकते हैं, वो 98 भी हो सकते हैं, 95 भी हो सकते हैं, 93.5 भी हो सकते हैं. सो ऑल दीज केसेस इज कंसिडर्ड एज ए कंटिन्यूस वैल्यू. इसमें से कुछ होगा, सो देन दैट केस इज कॉल्ड एज रिग्रेशन. बट हियर you have to predict whether it is 0 or 1, whether it is pass or fail. So then that case is considered as classification. But let's understand it further. If you add some more input attributes, then the accuracy will further improve. For example, here I have considered tumor size and age and then diagnosis. So if you consider tumor size, it will become x-axis, age is on y-axis, and then on the basis of tumor size and age I am predicting whether the tumor is cancerous or not. So of course, if I consider two attribute, then the model will be more accurate as compared to considering only tumor size. But again, the trade-off is this: if you add more number of columns into your model, the model will become more complex, but of course the accuracy of the model will also improve in that particular way. So if you consider age, mean parameter and all those parameters, of course the accuracy of model will be more, but then it will be the model will also be more complex. But here I am predicting output in the form of 0 and 1, so this is case of classification. Now let's suppose that we also want to tell the stage of the cancer. Let's suppose it is at level 1, level 2, stage 3 or stage 4. So in this case I have to predict 1 out of 5. So here I have to predict 1 out of 5. So non-cancerous है, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. So output may be anything between 0, 1, 2, 3 or 5, 4. So this still is considered as classification, but it is now considered as multi-class. So here we have multiple classes. When you have only two cases like 0 and 1, then it is considered as binary classification. But when you have a case like 0 to 4, then it is considered as multi-class classification. So this is another important point कि अगर आपको सिर्फ दो में से प्रिडिक्ट करना है तो वो बाइनरी क्लासिफिकेशन है, लेकिन अगर आपको 10 में से कुछ प्रिडिक्ट करना है तो वो मल्टी क्लास क्लासिफिकेशन है. ओके, मैं एक और एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मुझे आपने बताना है कि आई एम जस्ट वॉचिंग एट योर चैट बॉक्स. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन. इफ आई हैव टू प्रिडिक्ट योर मार्क्स, मुझे आपके मार्क्स प्रिडिक्ट करने हैं, देन इज इट ए केस ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन और इज इट ए केस ऑफ रिग्रेशन? Prediction of marks. I am waiting for your response. I have to predict your marks. So then this is a case of regression because your marks can be anything between 0 to 100. If I have to predict your grade, like your grade may be A, B, C, D, like this. So prediction of grade. So अगर आपको grade predict करना है, तो अगर आपको मार्क्स प्रिडिक्ट करना है देन दिस इज रिग्रेशन, लेकिन अगर आपको ग्रेड प्रिडिक्ट करना है देन दिस इज ए केस ऑफ ग्रेड प्रिडिक्ट करना है देन दिस इज ए केस ऑफ रिग्रेशन क्लासिफिकेशन. तो ग्रेड प्रिडिक्शन इज ए केस ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन एंड इट इज ए मल्टी क्लास क्लासिफिकेशन बिकॉज मल्टीपल ग्रेड्स होंगे लाइक ए, बी, सी. सो दिस इज ए केस ऑफ मल्टी क्लास क्लासिफिकेशन. सो आई हैव फ्यू एग्जांपल्स. So predicting the grade of the student or predicting that whether India is going to win the match or lose the match. So if I have to predict whether India is going to win this test match or lose this test match, is it a case of classification or regression? Match. So if I have to predict whether India is going to win or lose the match, this is again a case of classification. So all these are the example of classification. Student is going to get the placement or not, yes or no में आएगा आंसर. Again a case of classification. Whether we have rain today or not, आज बारिश होगी या नहीं होगी, again answer will be in yes or no, a case of classification. So I have explained you a lot of example that if you have to predict the marks of a student then it is a case of regression, but if we have to predict the grade or division of the student then it is a case of classification. If we have to predict the score of India then this is a case of regression. स्कोर तो कुछ भी हो सकती है ना, कोई भी एक नंबर होगा. सो दैट स्कोर इज ए केस ऑफ रिग्रेशन. बट इफ वी हैव टू प्रिडिक्ट वेदर इंडिया विल विन और लूज, देन दिस इज ए केस ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन. सो विन और लूज क्लासिफिकेशन है, स्कोर प्रिडिक्ट करनी आपका रिग्रेशन है. एक क्वेश्चन था बीच में, मैं लेना चाहता हूँ कि देर वॉज ए केस दैट आई हैव टू प्रिडिक्ट 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So will it be a case of regression or will it be a case of classification? So if I have to predict 0, 1, 2, 3 or 5, will it be a case of classification or regression? This is a case of classification. In case of regression क्या होगा, 0 से लेके 5 में कुछ भी आ सकता है. उस केस में 0.1, 0.9, 1.5, 3.5, 4.9 कुछ भी आ सकता है बीच में. सो अगर बीच में 0 to 5 में कोई भी वैल्यू आ सकती है, देन आई विल कॉल्ड इट एज ए रिग्रेशन. लेकिन अगर सिर्फ 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 इन 6 में से कोई एक वैल्यू आ सकती है, देन आई विल कॉल्ड इट एज ए क्लासिफिकेशन. तो अगर इस डिस्क्रीट में से कोई एक पिक करना है तो वो क्लासिफिकेशन है. लेकिन पूरी रेंज आपको दे दी अगर उसने कि 0 to 5 है और इसमें कोई भी वैल्यू हो सकती है, 4.9 भी हो सकता है, 4.3 भी हो सकता है, 3.3 भी हो सकता है, तो वो केस रिग्रेशन का होगा. सो आई होप दैट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अ लॉट about different examples for classification and regression, and I hope you got that point. So let's move next to another learning that is now a case of this case. So let's suppose I have this data set. We already discussed that this is a case where we have to predict the price. We know the output attribute. So let's suppose if output attribute is not available to us. So this is very important point. So let's suppose if output attribute is not available to us, I have only input attributes. तो अगर मुझे output attribute पता नहीं है, I have no knowledge about output attribute, I have only values of input attribute, then can I make predictions about the cost? So my question is, if I have only this data, can I predict the cost? क्या अब आप cost predict कर सकते हैं? So we cannot predict cost. So we cannot predict costs in this case because I have no idea that what is the cost of this plot. ये plot कितने का बिका है, मुझे अगर पता ही नहीं है ये plot कितने का बिका है, मुझे अगर कुछ पता ही नहीं है तो मैं कैसे बता सकता हूँ कि ये plot कितने का बिकेगा. So मैं ये तभी बता सकता था अगर मुझे पता होता कि भाई ओके ये plot 70 का है, ये 140 का है, ये 200 का है, ये 300 का है, तभी आप बता सकते थे कि ये कितने का होगा. But if you have no idea about price and lag, then how you can make prediction? You cannot make any predictions. So my point is this, if output data or output class or labeled is not given, if label is not given or output attribute is not given, then we called this case as unsupervised learning. So here we have no output attribute. Here we have no output attribute. So when we have no output attribute, you cannot make prediction. So this is important point. So you cannot make prediction in case of unsupervised learning because there is no output attribute. तो output attribute ना होने के कारण आप कोई prediction नहीं कर सकते. So in unsupervised learning you cannot make predictions. It means that in go for classification. So ना तो regression possible है, ना classification possible anything because you have no labeled data with us. Now the question is, if I have no knowledge about cost, then can I use this data for any other purpose? क्या इस data का कोई काम है मेरे लिए या ये data किसी काम का नहीं है? So I have knowledge only about input attribute. Still I can use this information for some better purpose, or it has no purpose. So can I use this information for any purpose where I don't have any label? So I can use it for purpose of grouping. I can still make grouping of plots or flats. you can still make grouping of flats. आप इसमें से क्या कर सकते हैं, 2 BHK अलग कर सकते हैं, 3 BHK अलग कर सकते हैं. You can make a group of 4 BHK. So if a person is only interested in 2 BHK, what is the fun of showing him 3 or 4 BHK? So if you know number of bedroom, then you can make a grouping or you can make cluster. So I will call this as group or cluster. So you can make important groups on the basis of maybe number of bedrooms or maybe from distance from city. If someone saying that I want a flat which is very close to city, so you can make a group of flats which are close to city. You can make a group of flats which are away from the city. So this way you can still make a use of this data, but that use will not be a use of prediction, but of course you can make groups, and that groups are important for business, because I have already told you that yes, you can use make a group for 2 BHK, 3 BHK and 4 BHK, and on that basis it can improve the business. We can make group on the basis of distance from the city and so on. So in unsupervised learning we cannot make predictions, but we can make cluster and group. Same way here, if I have the knowledge about output attribute diagnosis, then I can predict whether the tumor is cancerous or non-cancerous. But if I have no idea about this, a tumor is cancerous or non-cancerous, then I cannot predict anything about a new tumor. Prediction is not possible. But still, can I use this data for any other purpose? Can you answer this question? Can I use this data for any purpose? I have this data. So then again I can make in grouping of patients on the basis of their tumor size, on the basis of their age, on the basis of the type of tumor. So still I can make grouping of data. Still I can make clustering of information. So the point is this: if you don't have any output attribute, you only have input attribute, then you can make grouping of data or clustering of data, and that information is called as unsupervised learning. So I have one example for this. Here you can see that I have 2 fruits. I don't know the name of those fruits. मुझे इनके नाम नहीं पता है, लेबल नहीं है, सिर्फ fruits पता है. Still my machine learning algorithm can make a group of these fruits, that okay, this is a fruit of same group and these are the fruits of another group. So this grouping is still possible, and then here I am not predicting that whether it is apple or peach, but still I am predicting, I can make a group that okay, this is a group A and this is a group B. So in unsupervised learning we can make cluster or we can make group, because data is not labeled. So here there is no labeling, and when the data is not labeled you can only make grouping, and when you can make group, then this case is called as unsupervised learning. So there are multiple applications of clustering. So now you have a question like, what is the purpose of creating these kind of clusters or grouping? So I have multiple examples. For example, let us consider the case of Google News. So there are news items over the internet. I can analyze the text of these news item to make group of news item, like okay, these news item belongs to political news, these news item belongs to sports, these news item belongs to Ukraine crisis. So I can make grouping of the news item based on the content of that news item or content of the terms used in that article. So Google News can use this for making clustering or grouping of news items on the basis of the text. So that grouping of news item is also very important in case of presenting the information to the user. I can even make grouping of your social network analysis. आपकी पूरी friend list है Facebook के ऊपर. I can apply clustering to check that out of these friend list, how many friends of you are professional friends, how many friends are your relative, how many of you are very close friends, how many of you are professional friends. So based on the way you communicate, based on the post you share, based on your comments, based on your likes, I can make a grouping of your friend list, clustering of your friend list. So this is another important application. I can make grouping of customers. For example, in my store I have thousands of customers, and my store deal with a lot of products, like it deal with electronic product, clothing, grocery product, books, and so on. And if I can make a grouping of my customer, okay, this group is interested in clothing, this group is interested uh, in books based on their previous sale history, so then I can check that, okay, this is the customer which are only interested in clothing. So let's suppose there is a sale on clothing and I want to share this information with my customer. One option is to send this information to all the customer, but another is that if I know that this is a relevant group, then I can target that particular customer in a better way, and this will improve my business. So always grouping of customer or grouping of students even will be beneficial to target me, my audience, in a better way. So this is the point. And even unsupervised learning is also useful in case of association mining. So here I am going to introduce another term called as association mining. For example, here I will check that relationship of two items. Relationship of two items. सो मान लीजिए किसी ने X प्रोडक्ट परचेज किया है, तो वो X के साथ Y भी अगर परचेज करता है, तो I called this as association mining. So if someone purchase X, there is a high chances that he will also purchase Y. So based on that I can give you recommendation कि अगर किसी ने X मूवी देखी है तो there are very high chances कि वो Y मूवी देखेगा. तो यहाँ पे मैं प्रिडिक्शन नहीं कर रहा, यहाँ पे मैं रिकमेंडेशन दे रहा हूँ कि ओके आपका इस मूवी में इंटरेस्ट हो सकता है. तो अमेज़ॉन जो आपको प्रोडक्ट रिकमेंड करता है वो भी अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग है, जो बताता है कि आपने जो प्रोडक्ट लिया था वो दूसरे बंदों ने ये भी साथ में परचेज किया है एंड यू मे बी इंटरेस्टेड इन दैट. Similarly, when you watch a particular movie X, it give you all the movies which are related with that particular movie. So it give you recommendation. So my machine learning algorithm know the relationship between X and Y, and based on that it can give you recommendation. So recommendation is another way where we can use unsupervised learning, because here we are not predicting anything, but here we are recommending the product. तो जितने Amazon आपको product recommend कर रहा है, जितने YouTube आपको videos recommend कर रहा है, ये सब association mining को use करते हैं, जो कि unsupervised learning की एक example है. So with this we complete very important discussion on supervised and unsupervised learning. If data is labeled, we call it as supervised. If data is not labeled, we call it as unsupervised. Okay, let's go about this. Let's discuss this quickly. यहाँ पे मैं एडम और ईव को दिखा रहा हूँ. तो मेरा अब आपसे क्वेश्चन है, can you find out some correlation between the learning of Adam, Eve and the learning of a modern day child in terms of supervised and unsupervised learning? Learning of Adam, Eve और learning of a modern day child, दोनों की लर्निंग क्या सेम है या डिफरेंट है, और किसकी लर्निंग को किस कैटेगरी में आप रखोगे? जो एडम और ईव की लर्निंग है वो क्या सुपरवाइज्ड के क्लोज है या अनसुपरवाइज्ड के क्लोज थी, और जो मॉडर्न डे चाइल्ड की लर्निंग है वो क्या सुपरवाइज्ड है या अनसुपरवाइज्ड है? एडम और ईव की लर्निंग सुपरवाइज्ड होगी या अनसुपरवाइज्ड होगी? देखिए, जब एडम और ईव धरती पे पहली बार आए थे तो उस समय किसी भी आइटम का कोई नाम नहीं था. देयर इज नो लेबल टू एनी प्रोडक्ट. दे सिंपली वॉच ऑल द प्रोडक्ट्स, दे सिंपली वॉच ऑल द ऑब्जेक्ट्स, and based on the features of those objects, they classified maybe it into animate and non-animate, living and non-living. फिर living के अंदर उन्होंने देखा होगा कि some objects can fly, some can run, so they make it as a bird and animals. Then later on they give they make another group of dog, cat and so on. और बाद में जब language develop हुई, then they give labels or name to those things. But जो एडम और ईव ने सीखा, उस समय किसी भी चीज़ का कोई नाम नहीं था, किसी भी चीज़ का कोई लेबल नहीं था. दे सिंपली लर्नड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फीचर्स. दे मेक ग्रुप एंड सब ग्रुप्स, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दोज ग्रुप्स एंड सब ग्रुप दे लर्नड ऑल द थिंग्स. सो लर्निंग ऑफ एडम एंड ईव इज क्लोज टू अनसुपरवाइज्ड लर्निंग. लेकिन जब मॉडर्न डे चाइल्ड आजकल लर्न करता है, तो हम जैसे ही बच्चे को पेन दिखाते हैं So we say that this is pen, this is pencil, this is table, this is chair, this is car, this is aeroplane, this is mobile. So now everything has a label. So we tell the child corresponding features of the pen and also name associated with that item. So when we show a pencil to a child, child observe all the features of that item and also know its corresponding name. So you can see that the learning of modern day child is supervised because हम हर चीज का नाम बता रहे हैं लेबल लगा के, और अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग थी एडम और ईव की, क्योंकि उस समय किसी भी चीज के ऊपर लेबल नहीं था. So that's why the learning of Adam and Eve is called as unsupervised learning. So this is the point. Got it? So now we are just at the last point of our session. Okay, so now we have a third term called as reinforcement learning, and you can see that this reinforcement learning is completely different from supervised and unsupervised learning. Can anybody tell me where we are using reinforcement learning? कहाँ पे यूज होती है? हमने देख लिया supervised learning is used for regression or classification. We have learned unsupervised learning is used for grouping or clustering or association mining. But what is the use of reinforcement learning? Where it is used? Anyone? Where we use reinforcement learning? Matali Mahajan answered it correctly that it is used in case of robots, robotics, game playing algorithms, robotics, AI, autonomous car. Yes, so games. So very good. So I got the answer. So let's suppose I have to design a autonomous car. Now in order to design autonomous car, you cannot make a list of all possible scenario. You cannot create labeled data, because you cannot make pre-assume all the things which can happen during the road. So we have to follow something completely different strategy in case of learning. Let's suppose you want to send a robot to Mars. So you cannot create a labeled data for this कि अगर ये होगा तो ये करना, ये होगा तो ये करना, क्योंकि we don't know what will happen during that particular situation. So there are situation, अगर आपको computer game बनानी है, so there are thousands of lakhs of combinations. So you cannot dictate the machine that if this is the move then do this, if this is the move then do this. So you cannot use supervised and unsupervised learning in these situations. Then here we have something different called as reinforcement learning. Let me tell you something more on that. Reinforcement learning is just like you train your dog. So when you train your pet, you actually use the mechanism of reward and punish. So if pet make a good move, you reward that particular pet with some sweet or with some food, and if a pet make a mistake, then we punish it. So in this way, pet came to know that these are my moves which make you happy, and these are my moves which make you angry. So pet always try to repeat those actions which make you happy and always avoid those actions which make you angry. Same way, we want a machine to learn on the basis of reward mechanism. So machine make a random action. Based on every action, we reward the machine with a +5 or -5. So if the action is appropriate, we will give +5. If action is inappropriate, we will give -5. And the objective of the machine is to capture maximum points in minimum time. The objective of the machine is to capture maximum point in minimum of time. So machine always want to get plus 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 and always want to avoid detection or minus. So machine always want to repeat those actions which give the machine reward points, and always try to avoid those points, those actions which result into detection of that point. So this case is called as reinforcement learning. So all computer games learn in this way, that whenever computer game make a move, internally it gets some reward, and on that basis machine came to know that okay, this move is good, I have to repeat such kind of move. And if rewards are detected, then machine came to know that okay, this is a wrong move and I have to avoid such kind of moves in future. So this way computer games learn, this way robot learn, and this way even self-driving car can be learn on their own. So these type of things are very important, where we want a machine to learn on their own, and that case is called as reinforcement learning. So let's go back and see different type of learning which we have discussed today. We came to end of this session. So here you can see that we have three kind of learning. One is supervised. Here we have regression and classification. Then we have unsupervised. In this I have a clustering. And then we have a reinforcement learning, where algorithm learns on their own by interacting with the environment on the basis of reward mechanism. So this is all about this session. Now it is a time for quiz. So in quiz I will share the link over your chat box. There are 5 questions. For every question there are 2 marks, so total there are 10 marks. It's very important to use your mobile number as your ID. You just give your 10-digit mobile number. Don't use 0 or +91. I will use this as a attendance, and I will also use your mobile number as a primary key to collect full information about this course. So let me open this quiz for you. So this is very important that you should not cheat during attending that particular quiz. हमारा जो पर्पस है वो मशीन लर्निंग के एक्सपर्ट क्रिएट करना है. तो डोंट इंडल्ज इन एनी प्रैक्टिस कि आप एक दूसरे से देखें और व्हाट्सएप के ऊपर लिंक शेयर करें. सो प्लीज़ डोंट डू दैट प्रैक्टिस, बिकॉज दिस इज़ नॉट आवर objective or any our purpose at this point. So please don't copy. I again asking you कि कोई स्मार्ट एक्ट ना करे. जो भी है वो है. आपको जस्ट एक क्विज देना है और बहुत सिंपल सा क्विज है. यू कैन ईजिली पास दैट क्विज विदाउट एनी हेल्प, विदाउट लुकिंग एट गूगल और समथिंग लाइक दैट. तो जितना आपको आता है उतना आपने करना है, और किसी की भी तरफ किसी की भी हेल्प लेने की आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑनेस्टी इज़ मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. उसके बाद मशीन लर्निंग और ये सब कुछ आता है. तो ये ना हो कि मशीन लर्निंग सीखते सीखते हम करप्शन की एक और डोज लेके चले जाएं. सो दिस इज़ नॉट माय ऑब्जेक्टिव. एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन यू जस्ट इंडल्ज इन ए रॉन्ग प्रैक्टिस और फिर एक दूसरे से चीट करके वापस चले जाएं. तो जितना आता है उतना करें और चिंता ना करें. तो आई एम गोइंग टू शेयर दिस लिंक विद यू हियर. यस. So I'm going to share it over this. Yeah, I have shared it, so you can start your quiz. There is it is a time of only 5 minutes. So there are 5 questions, so 5 minutes. So just click that link which I have shared in the chat box. Again I am sharing it. तो चैट बॉक्स के ऊपर मैंने आपको लिंक भेजा है. इसको ओपन करेंगे तो एक गूगल फॉर्म ओपन होगा, और उस गूगल फॉर्म में आपको अपना जो क्विज़ है ये सबमिट करना है. सो दिस क्विज़ इज़ ओपन फॉर 5 minutes. You can attempt that. I have again shared on the chat box. Please use this link. चैट बॉक्स में आ रहा है आपके सामने, और आप इस लिंक को यूज़ करके क्विज दीजिए. अगर किसी को व्हाट्सएप पे चाहिए, कुछ इशू है तो मुझे व्हाट्सएप पे टेक्स्ट कर दीजिए, आई विल शेयर दैट। So please quickly attempt your quiz. It is open for 5 minutes. और जो हमारी नेक्स्ट क्लास है वो हम संडे को लेंगे। नेक्स्ट सैटरडे मैं बिज़ी हूँ, सो नेक्स्ट संडे को सेम टाइम पे क्लास होगी आपकी 6 बजे। और अगेन आई रिक्वेस्ट एवरीवन टू इंस्टॉल टेलीग्राम, और टेलीग्राम इंस्टॉल करके आप एक जो सॉफ्टवेयर है, जो ग्रुप हमने बनाया हुआ है टेलीग्राम का, उसको ज्वाइन करें, बिकॉज आई विल शेयर एवरी इंफॉर्मेशन ओवर दिस। सो या समवन आल्सो शेयर इट ओवर टेलीग्राम। तो टेलीग्राम लिंक ज्वाइन करना ज़रूरी है, तो प्लीज़ उसको भी आप ज्वाइन करें। और इसके लिए टेलीग्राम आपको इंस्टॉल करना पड़ेगा अपने मोबाइल में, तो प्लीज़ इंस्टॉल दैट एंड यूज़ इट। मैंने टेलीग्राम का लिंक भी यहाँ पे आपसे शेयर किया है। तो आई होप दैट यू एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दीज कंसेप्ट। सो नेक्स्ट टाइम संडे को सेम टाइम पे हम मिलेंगे, और अगला जो हमारा सेशन होगा, वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग पाइथन। इट विल बी ए प्रैक्टिकल सेशन, and in that session we will discuss how to implement machine learning algorithms. So we will learn how to load the data, and how to uh, use different libraries. So passing marks, it is nothing like that. You can consider it maybe 6 or 8. So I will, there is no need to read book as such, just follow the content, and I will share some of video sessions with you. So just follow those concepts, and I will also share my presentations with you. I'm going to create a Google Classroom जहाँ पे आपके साथ ये information share की जाएगी, and I will also share that information on Telegram group. So please join Telegram, because otherwise it is not possible to connect each one of you on WhatsApp. Yes, recording is available. आप इसी YouTube चैनल के ऊपर इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग कभी भी देख सकते हैं, तो रिकॉर्डिंग इज़ अवेलेबल. Yes, if you have submitted your quiz, you can leave. The session is over. Thank you. अगर हम 1000 में से किसी एक को प्रेडिक्ट करते हैं, स्टिल इट इज़ कंसिडर्ड एज ए क्लासिफिकेशन. 1 out of 1000, स्टिल इट इज़ ए क्लासिफिकेशन. इट इज़ नॉट ए रिग्रेशन. Telegram link we have already shared. I am again sharing it. So please please share information of this course with your friends, because we want to reach to maximum number of people. तो जो भी इसको ज्वाइन करना चाहता है, anyone can join it. Even you can watch the recording. और बाकी जो चीज़ें हैं वो आप अगला सेशन ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. तो अगर आपके किसी दोस्त इंटरेस्टेड है लेकिन उसने ये सेशन आज नहीं लगाया, तो आप उसको बोल सकते हैं कि आप ये रिकॉर्डिंग देख लें, और अगला सेशन संडे को जो होगा उसको वो अटेंड करें. आई वॉन्ट एवरी वन, I just want you to pass this information to your friends. Please share this feedback on the Telegram channel which we have created, because this will motivate other people. क्योंकि मैं चाहता था कि ज़्यादा number of students हों. Still we have very less number of people as compared to the number of registered people. तो हो सकता है कि आपकी जो feedback है, it can motivate others to join more number of people. So that will be very useful for me at least. So please share your feedback on Telegram group so that other can read it and get some motivation to attend the sessions. And those people who will attend more than 70%, 75% of session and score good marks will get certificate in the end. But of course certificate is not that important. The most important thing is the learning, the skill set which you are going to get in this course. So this is very, very important. So please keep sharing your feedback over Telegram, or and also join this, and please pass on this information with your students and friends so that maximum can join this course and can take benefit of this option. Of course we will discuss projects in the mid of this course. Once we complete different classifiers, then we will do that. Yes, attendance is only through the quiz, so yeah, I will use your quiz as your attendance. So let me close the. So thanks, you can leave. God bless you.